Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another podcast of Pub Talk with your host here, Chase Wilson. Guys, I want to start out saying those first couple podcasts that I put out there, I know they were super unprofessional, and the reason that I'm kind of apologizing is I know that wasn't the best start off that I was looking for, but I mean it was fun. I had a blast. The guys and I, we were drinking a little bit, and that's just how we are when we're together. We give each other a lot of crap and what have you, but I want this to be as professional as possible from here on out, and just the reason being is because I really am trying to do something bigger and better for this community, and I want to try to. I'm trying to think of how I want to. I'm just trying to promote a lot of local businesses, and I want respectable people on here to talk, and I don't want them to feel like this is a podcast platform where it's just all going to be jokes and a bunch of cussing and this, that, and the other. That is not what another one of the greatest racers in the market out there on 5th Street right now. So thank you for adding that to the audio. But anyway, like I was saying, I don't want this to be that way. I want this to be as professional as it can be, because I do plan on having some highly respectable people on here, and I've already talked to quite a few, and it's not that I'm embarrassed by those first two, because I'm not. That is just me and my friends. That's just how we talk to each other, and I know there's a lot of inappropriate stuff on there that maybe some people just were, listen to the first 5 or 10 minutes of it and shut it off. So I do apologize for that. But I did also have a blast, and I don't apologize for that. So, but with all that being said, I did just want to make a kind of like a public apology to all those that listen that maybe thought that was just really, really inappropriate. I can assure you, that was a test through, a nice little run through, and I'm glad that I got everything set up correctly. All my software is working perfect. The mics sound amazing. All 4 of them are doing fantastic. This PodTrack P4 system that I have is phenomenal. I think I'm good to go. And with that being said, I'm just kind of doing a solo one today. Just because honestly I'm really bored, and I've had some stuff on my mind these last couple days, and I'm just gonna talk a little bit about some things that's been going through my mind. And I'll start with last night. I went to me and my fiance went to the high school basketball game. Jennings County High School, where the Jennings County the varsity basketball team played the Madison Cubs, and that's a rivalry that goes way back. Not so much as Seymour, but Madison's right there, But all in all, it was a good game. Jennings County did win, and by a significant margin. Kind of impressed with that team. I was a former basketball player, graduated in 2015, and this has honestly been, last night was the first time that I've been back in that gymnasium since I graduated and had my last war on the court. And to be honest with you, as soon as we walked through those doors, I got the biggest slap in the face. The nostalgia just hit me, and I felt all kinds of different ways about it, and super emotional. But I just kind of want to talk about some stuff like that, and congratulations to the high school basketball team, because that was that was a solid win. There's a lot that I could see that needs to be worked on, but what would you expect for, the first couple games of the season going into it? I think they did a phenomenal job. The coaching staff did a phenomenal job. Referees, not so much. But shout out to them because that is a tough job too. I would not want to referee a game. I was yelling at the referees from my seat in the stands on a lot of different calls but that doesn't matter. You shouldn't really do that. And I know I shouldn't do that, but I get caught up in the heat of the game, whether I'm playing or watching. But with all that being said, I just do want to congratulate the Jennings County High School basketball team. Heck of a job. Thank you for beating Madison. I got a lot of buddies that come from Madison. I played a lot of AAU with some guys from Madison. No disrespect, I love y'all, but you know how deep that rivalry is, and I'm just glad that I'm really glad that we beat Madison. So I know the varsity team and the junior varsity team are both traveling to Rock Creek Academy tonight for their game. I don't know anything about Rock Creek. As a matter of fact, I think we first picked them up on the basketball schedule when I was in 2015, my senior year. I think we finally picked up Rock Creek, and man, when they walked in and we played them at home, and they were huge, man. I mean, their bench was deep. They had 3 kids. They were matched our lineup and then some. So Rock Creek's tough, private school. So I mean, they get some good players, So hopefully we can walk away with that one with a win too. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the Jennings County basketball program succeed, and what have you. But congratulations to the Jennings County basketball team. I'm also trying to get to the girls basketball games too as well. I don't want to make you guys feel left out because you guys are doing an amazing job too. And I can't wait for sectional time. I can tell you that right now that I will be at sectionals. And I do plan on having coaches from both girls and boys basketball team on here. And hopefully they can hype some of their players up and hype this team up whenever it comes closer to sectionals. Because sectionals is the biggest time of not only of the year, but also for a lot of athletes' careers. And I know that firsthand. I know the whole build up to sectionals. You got to keep that in mind, man. That was some of the best times of my life, and I can't wait. I literally I can't wait for sectional time because both of our varsity teams, girls and boys, are looking phenomenal. And hats off to the coaching staffs because I know firsthand how hard it is to find the time when you're working daily jobs and you have kids and you're doing all your stuff around your house and all this, and you find time to come in and you volunteer your time to help these kids and to coach, and and it ain't even just the varsity teams. This trickles down all the way to the lower levels, and I would love to see some more involvement in the lower level kids, because I honestly think that in order to build a program, a very successful program, that it must start with the youth. If we can get the youth tuned up, get them taught early, learn them the fundamentals early, I think that really helps build programs. So, if you're sitting around and you got some spare time on your hands, and teach these kids, try to volunteer, coach some kids. I know I'm going to try to do it. I've already done it a couple times. I helped coach an AAU team. I coach 3rd and 4th graders. So I know how much of a dedication it is, but our youth and our Jennings County programs need this. And it's not even with just basketball. The youth involvement in every sport is crucial to maintaining a successful program. And I can't stress that enough, and I really, really hope that I can get more involved with the younger generation. I did get offered one of the middle school basketball coaching spots this year, and unfortunately I I knew that I didn't have the time, and it really does suck because I love coaching. When I first started coaching, I might enjoy coaching more than I did playing. As hard as that is to say, because I thoroughly enjoy the game of basketball, but coaching kids probably made me happier than playing the game. And I truly mean that, because kids idolize adults. I mean, let's be truthful, they idolize adults, especially people that that were athletes and played sports in previous years, and they know who you are, they look up to you, and they can't wait to learn from you. So all those guys out there that formerly played, or even the older generations, get involved. If help us build our programs back up, guys. We can do that. I don't want to be. I don't want Jennings County to fall to a level where everyone just overlooks us because our programs aren't as good as the other team. Our programs are good, and we have a lot of good coaches. We have talent that comes through our schools every year, and everybody knows it. Our coaches know it. It's just we got to have more involvement in the youth, I believe. And to be truthfully speaking with you, I've been around Jennings County my whole life, and one thing that truly does bother me about Jennings County schools and the sports programs is the political entities that come into play and the favoritism that happens a lot. And I don't care to say it because I've watched it firsthand. I've had my history with it, and I know several other players that's had histories with it, parents that have histories with it. It is a true thing, and it happens everywhere. It ain't just here, but I'm just saying, I've seen coaches come and go, a lot of coaches come and go, and how do you expect to have a solid foundation in these sports programs if we can't keep consistent coaches? So that's one of the biggest problems that I've seen in the Jennings County school programs, but that happens everywhere. I mean, it ain't just here. So, but with that being said, I'm not dogging on Jennings County programs whatsoever, because I love all of our sports programs. If you even knew how much time and how much hard work, how much dedication that it takes to even compete in a high school level these days, it's insane. And it's awesome because there's a lot of life lessons that come out of sports and that transition over into life skills to help you after you graduate high school and you move on to better things, whether that be the collegiate level or just even if you don't play sports, you have learned an essential part or essential parts of life, as far as, learning how to be on time. You think the consequence of you being late for a practice is to run or do push-ups or sit-ups or what have you. That's not that big of a deal, but that teaches you how to be prompt, how to be on time. When you graduate high school and you move on and you get your first job, I can promise you that the first time that you're late for work will be a much harsher consequence than running suicides or doing 50 push-ups or 100 sit-ups or whatever it is. Imagine getting fired from a job and you lose your money, you lose your job, what have you, disciplinary actions. Guys, if there's any high school kids that are listening to this, I'm just going to tell you right now, it is a harsh world after high school. And if you don't believe that, I'm going to pray for you, and I truly hope that maybe you're right and it's not going to be that hard for you, because life has threw me a million curveballs. And I know a lot of kids that graduated out of my class. I could probably tell you about maybe 40% of them are probably incarcerated or on the streets or into drugs or what have you. And I'm just telling you guys, after high school, a lot of that stuff, it'll hit you in the face hard. And I'm not trying to scare you, but I was not prepared after high school. I would just tell you that. And so if you play sports and you think that these consequences for you are hard. You have no idea what's in store for you when you walk out of those high school doors for the last time and you see just how mean this world is. And even, like, it's getting worse. It's progressively getting worse. Every year, it's getting worse. So, I just want to see you guys all succeed. All the teachers that put in their time, God bless you, because you don't get paid enough. Everybody knows that. And you definitely don't get paid enough right now, especially with all this COVID stuff going around. You know, I can almost tell you right now, there's teachers out there that are probably just pulling their hair out right now. And I can't give you guys enough props. I mean, there's just no words that I could say, that I could genuinely say to thank you for everything that you do for all of the generations that have went through the high school. Because there have been teachers, there has been coaches, I mean, all the way down to a few of the janitors there that have really impacted my life. And I truly do mean that. I can't tell you right now that there's been so many coaches and so many teachers that have drastically changed my outlook in life. You know, and some of them weren't liked, man, and, you know, but that's part of it. I think kids today don't understand the difference between you getting yelled at or constructive criticism, because that is the ultimate reality of how this world works. If you cannot handle constructive criticism and take that well, then you're going to have a hard time succeeding out of school. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. You know, when I graduated, you know, which I mean, a lot of people don't know my backstory. I was a 2015 graduate of Jennings County High School. And I had played basketball my entire life. And while I sit here and say that I don't think I was that good, there's a lot of people out there that tell me I'm good and what have you. I don't like bragging on myself, and I don't think I should brag about myself because there's nothing to brag about. But all I'm saying, I graduated in 2015. And when I was a sophomore in high school, I enlisted into the Marine Corps. My mom signed my waiver when I was 17 years old. And my whole story started, I was supposed to ship off to boot camp the week after I graduated high school. And 2 days after I graduated, I went through the processing station in Indy. And I ended up having to go back for final consults because there was something kind of going on with my heart, or something that they found. You know, their job at MEPS is to disqualify you. I'll just tell you that right now. If anybody's thinking about joining the military out of high school, MEPS sucks. MEPS is hell. It's a hurry up and wait game. You're there all day. The nerves set in. You're talking to these guys. You're figuring out your contracts. You're asking 100 questions. They're asking you 100 questions. You got to be careful with what you say. They try to scare you. There's all kinds of these tactics that go into this. And but I enlisted when I was 17, and I vividly remember, you know, all going through sectionals, and I probably cried more than anybody that on our team whenever we lost our first round of sectionals, because I knew that we should have went farther than what we did. I don't know what happened. We just had kind of an off game, and you know, and we got beat. I mean, that's just all there was to it. You know, I didn't want to hang my head, but in that situation, that's all you can do is you're just upset. You know, your whole entire high school career ends. Sectionals is just so big. It's one of those highlights of your life that you're never going to forget. But I enlisted when I was 17, and I remember when we lost those first round of sectionals, I finished out that school year, and the day that I walked out of those high schools, with the high school doors, I was, just like I said earlier, I got slapped in the face. I mean, and hard. I had scholarship offers to play basketball. Nothing, you know, that's real crazy. There's definitely no Division I. I had 1 or 2 Division II, a lot of junior colleges that, looking back now, I wish I'd have took those opportunities, because I don't know where I'd be at if I did. But at the same time, I'm also extremely happy with where I'm at. And I'll get into that stuff later about happiness and life and decisions and all that. But right now, all I'm saying is when you walk out of those doors, life literally will slap you in the face, and you got to be ready. I mean, there is no such thing really as being ready, but you got to be as prepared as possible. And when I graduated, I was supposed to go off to boot camp. Well, I went 2 days after I graduated. I went up to MEPS, went through the processing, and like I said, they had to go through final consults, and this lasted months. I did not get to ship off like I was supposed to. I didn't make the ship date. I had to go through MEPS and went through like 6 final consults, and they finally disqualified me about 3.5, 4 months later. And that was through several doctor visits. That was through several EKGs, their EKGs, our hospital EKGs. My heart ended up coming back fine. I just had a dilated ventricle, and I had an abnormally slow heart rate. They diagnosed me with bradycardia, and ultimately that was a automatic disqualification from the military. And so by the time that I got through dealing with this, I had already been so upset and depressed. For the first time in my life, I felt genuinely depressed. I lost all my scholarship offers, and I had no interest in pursuing them because I was just so down, because the only thing that I ever wanted to do in my life was to serve this country. And this is the greatest country in the world, and I do not care what anybody says. If you think this country is bad, you have not even touched any of the other countries. Guys, the United States of America is, without a doubt, the best country in the entire world. And I will argue that until the day that I die. But I'm telling you right now, my only thing that I have ever wanted to do in my entire life was to serve this country. And it really, really set me in a mood and an ultimate, like a life depression that I could not fulfill my ultimate dream. So, like I said, I got disqualified. I lost my basketball scholarships. I know there are a lot of people out there saying, man, why didn't you just go try out next year or walk on or do this? And, well, for the simple fact of life started here. You know, I missed out on all that. And then, you know, as you walk out those doors, it's time to get a job. You know, your life starts. You can't just mope around and woe is me. And, you know, you got to make decisions to make yourself happy. You got to do that. So I chose to start working. I went and got my first job at Lowe's Distribution, and I worked there for, you know, a year on night shift, and decided that I would rather probably cut my wrist than work at Lowe's Distribution. But so I left there, and then I joined trades. I started getting into trades, and that's just kind of been my life so far. You know, I've worked trades my whole life. I laid floor for myself for a while. Road construction. I've worked a little bit everywhere. And you think constructive criticism's tough in high school athletics? Wait until you join a trade, or you working at a job, and you're surrounded by people that have done this job for years and years and years, and it seems like they just run their entire life off nicotine and hate. And man, I tell you, that's true. Some guys I've worked at places where some guys have been there 20, 30 years. And if you ever want to look and see what your future holds, go to your job and look up the chain, and you see how some of these people live day-to-day lives that's been there for 15, 20, 25, 30 years. You can almost kind of picture yourself being in the same kind of situation. You know, so keep some of that stuff in mind. You know, I'm not trying to be negative or what have you, but, you know, use your head and look at that stuff. And, you know, I think one of the biggest problems that I've had personally after high school finding jobs is I've kind of lost my passion. Like I said, the only thing I ever wanted to do was join the military. And I don't want, right now is not a good time to join the police force. I have no interest in joining the police force. I just don't. I know it might sound kind of crappy for me to say that, but I don't have any interest in joining any kind of police force or jail or anything like that. I legit just wanted to join the military, and I think a lot of that is I like the discipline. I like the physicality of it. You know, I stay in shape. I'm at the gym. I'd like to say I'm at the gym every day, but man, I've been slacking, going every other day, maybe here and there, sporadic through the week. But, you know, so the most important thing I think that you could ever do in this life is find happiness. And I really do truly mean that. You have to find ways to make yourself happy. And while that does not mean that money is probably, it is the biggest, it's the root of all evil. Money can make you really happy, yes, but ultimately it can't. And you can make as much money as you want, but I can guarantee you the more money you make, the more money you're going to spend. And, I think, I always told everyone that I was born in the wrong era, and I still believe that to this day. But there was a time where it was the incredible small things in this life that really just made you happy. Looking back now, I went over this with my grandpa the other day, and I tell you what, my grandpa has had a video recorder his entire life, and I can't tell you, every Christmas that we have ever had, that man has videotaped every single Christmas of every year, as far back as I can remember, way before I was even born. I'm talking way, 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 way back. And, I'm guilty of this, which I'm getting ready to get into, but man, you know how cool it is to sit around and watch those old videos of all those people that were in your family years and years and years ago before you were even born. And, there was a lot of people on there that were in my family that I never met before they passed away, but it feels just like I met them seeing these videos. You could see how they talk, and you can see how it trickles down generations on how people act, the way that they are, how their life was, how they were raised. And that's one of the coolest things that I have ever seen in my life, and that makes me happy. Looking back now, it's always the little things that you look back on and you're like, man, I really, really just genuinely miss that. Like I've had so many family members die. We used to have these big family get-togethers, and it's like as soon as everyone kind of, once a few people start passing away, those family get-togethers, they seem to shrink. They seem to fall apart. The families fall apart. We don't get together like we used to. And I'm not just talking about my family. I've seen this happen to multiple families, and it's sad. But, we take everyday life for granted, and that's a shame. Because you just never know what's going to happen on any given day. We all have times. We all have our time. And that time's not promised. No time on this earth is promised. And it's a shame that some people out there live their lives in such depression and anger and hatred, for what, man? You're going to be angry your whole life. You're going to be upset and depressed your whole life just to die. Start doing things today that make you happy. There's little things. I just opened a Coca-Cola. I just opened a fresh can of Coca-Cola, and you know what? I'm happy. Is it good for me? Nah. But I can't think of much in this world that is good for you anymore. So guess what? If I want to sit here and I want to open a nice cold can of Coca-Cola, I'm going to. And I honestly don't care. So, but it's always the little things you gotta look at that make this life worth living. And while you can make as much money as you want, you can buy yourself all these things to make you happy. You can go buy that brand new 2021 Razor. You could buy this great big old $400,000 house. You could buy that $60,000 vehicle, But at the end of the day, guess what? You working so much, making all that money, you ain't got nobody to ride around in that brand new Razor with you. You don't have nobody, no family living in that house, and if you do, you probably don't see them because you're too busy working so damn much, and you miss out on a lot of life events. I've seen that time and time. You ask anybody in the older generation some of the regrets they had in their life, and they'll say, man, I spent so much time working, trying to raise so much money, when ultimately it's not money that ever made you happy. It just wasn't. And it's the time that we spend with our loved ones. It's the time that we're all together. It's the times where, you know what I mean. It's always those little things that you look back on, especially when people pass away. I had an uncle. I have 3 uncles that I miss dearly. And I can tell you every memory that I had with him that I always reflect on was something so incredibly minor. Squirrel hunting, deer hunting, camping, fishing, the family get-togethers. We all used to get together and play guitar, stuff like that. And all those family activities are dying out. And you don't see families get together anymore hardly, And for the ones that you do, God bless you, because you have no idea. I'm extremely jealous of that. I really am. I would love to do that. And as a matter of fact, when I decided to start my family, you can bet your ass we're going to have the biggest family get-togethers. And if I have to host it, I will. I will gladly host it. I will have a house. I will have a shelter house. We will get together and play guitar. We will get together and have picnics, family get-togethers, reunions, and stuff like that, birthday parties, and game nights and stuff like that. Guys, that is what life is about. It's the time that you have on this earth that is not promised. It's all about love. It's about love. It's about family. It's about friends, relationships. What is money? Money is the root of all evil. I'm a firm believer in that. I have never put anything in my life that I've had to chase a dime for. And I know a lot of people say, man, you've went through a lot of jobs. You've worked a lot of jobs. Well, yeah, you're right. I have. Do I really care? No. No, I don't. Because every job that I've had, how do you know that you do or don't like something until you do it? I've put myself in some really bad jobs. I've put myself in some really good jobs. And that's just part of life. It's part of learning. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and that's just how you learn. You don't get old and wise without being young and dumb. And in my case, I was really stupid, but that's just part of it. That is the ultimate reality of growing up and learning and living your life. And I can tell you, out of all those jobs that I have personally had, I have picked up so many life lessons from job to job to job. All the people that I've met, I will never forget. I don't forget anybody that I ever work with. I just recently worked at O'Mara, and I miss those guys. I loved all of them, most of them. I love most of them, and all the guys that I've ever met throughout any trade that I've ever worked. I loved all the guys that I used to work with, and all my coworkers. I'll never forget them. But you pick up. A wise person knows that there is something to be learned from everyone. Now, whether that be a good or bad thing is solely up to you. But there is a lot of things that you learn, so always keep that in mind. You're always a student to life. You always have something to learn. You will not know everything, I promise you. And if you do, you could come over here and shed some light on me, because I got a lot of questions. And this world just keeps evolving, and there's something new to be learned every day. So, and that's one of the coolest things that I think is going to be really cool about this podcast deal, is that I'm going to have guests that come on here, and I'm going to learn a whole lot. And a lot of it's probably going to be on subjects that I have no idea about. Am I uncomfortable talking sometimes about things that I don't know anything about? Absolutely. But how are you supposed to ever learn anything if you keep dodging the bullets and you don't have those uncomfortable conversations? There should never be any arguing, right? There is, don't get me wrong, but there's something to be learned from everyone. And you could be right, you could be wrong, and that's just part of it. If me and someone were to sit here across from each other and he thinks he's in the right about a certain thing, and I think I'm in the right about a certain thing, why should I be mad at him for fighting for something and arguing with me about something that he thinks is right when what I'm arguing with is what I think is right? We just respect each other's opinions, listen to each other. If people in this world would just listen more and shut their mouths, we'd probably be in a much better environment. So keep that in mind. If you're going to take that, the next time that you're in a heated argument with someone, detach yourself a little bit from the situation and listen. Just genuinely open your ears and just listen to what someone else has to say. Take it in. Even if they're wrong, you take it in, process it, give them your feedback, and you say, listen, we can agree to disagree. I've listened to your opinions. Now here's mine. And you guys just kind of take it with a grain of salt and you move on about your day. So just because someone has a different opinion than me does not mean that I have to hate that person. Hate to me is a strong word. That is a very strong word. I dislike a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that dislike me. But I respect everyone. Because whether or not we agree on something, there's people out there that you might talk to, and you being mean to someone, you don't have any idea what kind of battles they have going on. You don't know what that person's going through. You don't know what's led them up to think about this decision. They might have had some kind of trauma. They might have PTSD. They might have something that's happened that was tragic that's set them in a way where they think this way, or they think a certain way about a certain subject. If people would open their ears and just listen and respect people's opinions, agree to disagree, you don't hate the person, and you just move on. I've seen so many friendships that end just because they can't agree on just a couple certain things. And that's horrible. Because one of the greatest things in life is building relationships with people. And it really is just a shame to see a relationship just downward spiral and the relationship just end simply because you had an argument over something that it was literally so stupid and incredibly minor that it really shouldn't have mattered anyway. But it's not the argument that does it. It's how you react. Your tone, your demeanor, the way that you come across and say things. I don't ever purposely try to hurt someone in an argument. I get angry sometimes, but ultimately I always respect everyone. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And I think a lot more people should try that. Next time you get in a heated argument with someone, just take a breath, step back for a second, process what they're trying to say, and just put yourself in their shoes and be like, okay, man, I don't necessarily think that you're right, but I do respect your opinion. Girls too, I keep saying him, but I'm not sexist, I promise. It's just a natural thing that comes out of my mouth is him. But he or she, I see girls are just as guilty of it for sure. Girls get in heated arguments all the time with each other. I've seen best friends just full, like almost about to fist fight, and they're just stupid. Just agree to disagree, speak your guys' opinions, and just move on. It really is that simple. But I know it's random, I'm kind of all over the place, but there's just a few things that's been on my mind, about happiness. Happiness is the most important thing in life. If you do not have true happiness, then you're going to live a life that's just not good. There'll never be any goals because you're so depressed all the time, And especially, people don't ever want to do anything about it. You get put on antidepressants and stuff. That's horrible. There's things out there that you can do, exercises. I've always told people, if you have a hard time, you're getting out of depression, man, physical fitness is one of the best therapies that you could ever put yourself through. It's the best thing. Mentally and physically, it'll take you to a whole different level and a whole different place in this life that you never thought was possible. And if you're not into that, there's 100 other things I could tell you right now that'll do just about anything. Just here recently this year, I started reading books. I always hated reading. I really hated reading. And the problem that I found was I hated reading because I was always given books that I had to read. That whole situation changes when you start reading books that you want to read. You look up books that you're interested in, and you open that first couple chapters and you actually sit down and you read, you realize how you can just float off You just float away. Get lost in a book, and comprehend it. Read it slow. Read it word for word. Imagine it, That opens up the creative doors in your mind. And there's so much knowledge in books. I know people out there like, man, you're a book nerd, but I don't care, man. You learn from books. Books are written in the past. 30 years from now, the 50 books that I have on this shelf are still going to be there. And they're still going to be filled with all that knowledge. And history always repeats itself. If anyone ever listened in history class and social studies and in government, history does always repeat itself. So, and one of the number one things that says in the Bible is knowledge. Is should be the ultimate goal for everyone in life is to learn. And I do believe that. And I take that to a whole different level. There's something to be learned from everyone. That's why I read books. That's why, I'm having this podcast deal is I want to gain as much knowledge as I can about all kinds of different subjects. I don't want to have one theme that I'm just trying to be knowledgeable in. I want to be knowledgeable across the entire platform. Random things. I don't even care. If it's classic cars, if it's government, if it's hunting, if it's fishing, if it's camping, if it's backpacking, if it's remodeling houses, if it's carpenter work, any trades that you could think of, art, the list goes on and on. Nursing, anything that has to do with the health field. There is a vast platform out there that is just soaked with knowledge, and I'm trying to get in on that. I'm a sponge right now. I want everyone to come on here, and this is one of the things that I want to do is to help spread knowledge, especially in our community, because there's a lot of things that happen here in good old Jinko. And to be truthful with you, I went out to P&Y Farms Fresh Market today, and I ate lunch at about 9:30 this morning. And I work first shift, so all you guys are like, wow, he's eating lunch at 9:30. Well, it's because I'm used to eating lunch at 9, so that's why I was out there. But fantastic place, by the way, fantastic. If you have not been out to P&Y Farms Fresh Market, you're missing out. That place is amazing. So give that a shot. Another local business. That's what I'm trying to do is promote local businesses. And I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. But I was out there and I was talking to one of my good friends, Josh Yeager. And he had a lot to say about some things that are going on too. And one thing that we agreed on hard was that Jennings County gets talked about a lot for all the negative things that happen here. The opioid crisis, all this other stuff that's going on, and people don't like these business owners and all this and whatever. But guys, you realize we all live here. Everybody that's probably listening to this right now is living in Jennings County, and we have all that power to work together and promote these businesses, give our money to people that build their own dreams. And that's just we both agreed on that. Is I'm tired of seeing all these negative things, and I promise I'm going to promote nothing but positive things, especially about this community. And so hopefully you guys can be okay with that, because I'm tired of the negativity, and I know a lot of people out there are tired of the negativity. I'm tired of hearing about COVID-19, tired of hearing about all these damn variants. I'm just tired of it, and I know a lot of you guys are too. So with all that being said, I'm gonna try my hardest to promote all this the positivity and all the positive things that are happening here. And just like I started this off, I'm talking about the basketball teams, our sports programs, talking about happiness and finding jobs and doing all this other stuff, man. Like, everybody has that power to do what you want. Everybody has the power to go to a local business and buy something locally. Everybody has the power to go to the high school on Friday nights and cheer on your home team. So, guys, we can work together and make Jennings County a better place, or we can just be stuck in the times. But ultimately, speaking of time, I'm out of time. So we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for listening.